So suppose A and H are all mappings of a set A into itself. So the first thing we want to do, A, is prove that if G is on 2 and F composed with G equals H composed with G, then F equals H. All right. So when we get into formal proofs, the first thing we're going to want to do is write out our knowns or our assumptions, the things that we're starting with. So we were given that F, G, and H are mappings of A into itself, meaning that F, let's just put this in brackets, F goes from A to A, G goes from A to A, and H goes from A to A. And also we're given that G is on 2 and that F composed with G equals H composed with G. So those are the things that we're going to want to assume and write. And then we're going to want to prove that F equals H given these things. So we're going to say let F, G, and H be mappings from A to A, and let G be on 2, where F composed of G equals H composed of G. So these are our assumptions. Now we want to write this in a form that we can use better. So we're going to write then F composed of G of X equals H composed of G of X with X an element of A. We can write G of X here and say X is an element of A because G takes elements of A and maps it into itself. So X is an element of A. All right. Now we want to rewrite this as a composition. This is written as a composition, but let's write it in a way that we can kind of take the next step a little easier. So let's write then F of G of X, so this is just another way to write that, equals H of G of X. So now we're going to look at this and say, all right, so we have a function inside another function. So we were given that G is on 2. So we can say since G is on 2 and G is a mapping from A to A, every element in A is an image under G. So since it's on 2, remember that if it's on 2, it means every element in the codomain is mapped to by some element of the domain. And since it's mapped onto itself, every element in A will be an image, meaning it has a mapping under G, the function G. So if we suppose Y is an element of A, so some arbitrary element in A, let's call it Y, we'll say suppose Y is an element of A such that G of X is an image generated by the function G. So we'll say that's equal to Y because Y is an element of A and every element in A is an image under G. So if y is an element of A, then g of x equals y is an image. So then f of y equals h of y by substitution. So if you just take this, since we said g of x equals y, just plug it in here. And now we have f of y equals h of y. So therefore, f equals h. And that's the conclusion we wanted to come to. So we took our knowns, we took that g is on 2, we took that these compositions were equal, and we took the fact that g is a mapping of a set A unto itself, and we just kind of rewrote it and took our assumptions, and we're able to conclude that f equals h.